This is CPM Precalculus Chapter 2, number 29. We're asked to solve each triangle. So we know solving each triangle means to find all three angles and all three sides. Okay? So A, find the legs of an isosceles right triangle with a 10 centimeter hypotenuse. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw this so then we can label everything. An isosceles triangle, remember, means two sides or more are congruent, are equal in length. Okay, a right triangle, we know what a right triangle is. It has a 90-degree angle. So let me draw that first. So we have a right angle in our triangle and has a 10 centimeter hypotenuse. Okay, so two sides of equal length. Well, if it's a right triangle, we cannot have two sides being the same as the hypotenuse because only one angle is 90 degrees. So that means the hypotenuse we know is 10 centimeters, right? And these two sides, the legs, are equal in length, okay? And that's what we're given because it's an isosceles right triangle. So this is the diagram we're starting with just from the text that we're given, okay? So let's go ahead and add what we know, right? We know that we want to label all of the vertices, all of the angles, and then all of the sides, right? And we want to solve for the unknowns. Okay, so what do we know? We know angle A, angle B, angle C, side A, side B, side C. Okay, so what do we know already? We know angle C is 90 degrees. It's a right angle. Side C is 10 centimeters. Okay, so this is solving the triangle, right? We want to get all of these pieces of information. Okay, so given the fact that side A and B are equal, right, this quickly tells us that if sides A and B are equal, then the opposite angles, right, angle A, since side A and B are equal, then angle A has to equal angle B. Okay, we know that from geometry, the corresponding angles of equal sides in a triangle are also equal, or congruent. Okay, so we can go ahead and find angle A and B because we know angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 90 degrees, right? I mean, not 90, oops, 180 degrees, right? And since we know A and B are equal, let's say we call them both x. So we know x plus angle C is 90 degrees equals 180. So we can go ahead and solve this. We get 2x plus 90 equals 180. Solving for x, subtract 90 from both sides. We're left with 2x is equal to 180 minus 90 is 90. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals to 45. Okay, so then we know that's in degrees. We know angle A equals angle B equals x is equal to 45 degrees. Okay, so then we can go ahead and fill in our solving the triangle with angle A and angle B are both 45 degrees. Okay, this is pretty common. You might have been able to just see that immediately. If one angle is 90 and the other two are the same, they have to be 45 degrees. Okay, and what does this make this triangle? This makes it a special right triangle. It makes it a 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. Right? This is now a special right triangle. Special right triangle. Right? And what do we know about a special right triangle that's 45, 45, 90 degrees? So let me go ahead and rewrite it here. 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. So this is 90, this is 45 degrees here, this is 45 degrees here. Here, we know that if this is side length A, this is equivalent, right? These are congruent sides, and the hypotenuse is then square root of 2 times A. Okay? So this is what we know based on it being a special right triangle, 45, 45, 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and use that information. So based on this information here, we can go ahead and look at our triangle that we have, and we know side C is 10 centimeters. So we know the hypotenuse here is 10 centimeters. So we know square root of 2 times A is equal to 10 centimeters, right? So let's solve for A. We divide both sides by square root of 2. And we get A is equal to 10 divided by square root of 2, okay? So if A is equal to that, then we know sides over here, A and B, are both 10 over square root of 2. Since we solved for the value of A, that's the same here and here, so we could go ahead and say this side and this side are also 10 over square root of 2, okay? But we must simplify this. 10 over square root of 2, we do not like square roots in the denominator, so to get rid of the square root in the denominator, we multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2, right? We multiply by the square root of 2 to cancel it out, because square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. So we get 10 times square root of 2 over 2. 10 over 2 is 5 square root of 2. Okay, so we're just simplifying A here, right? A to be 5 square root of 2. And we know that that's the same as B and A here, so let me go ahead and write in. For A, we get A is 5 square root of 2, and B is 5 square root of 2, and these are both centimeters, right, because the units are in centimeters. Alright, so this is solving the triangle we're given in part A. Let's go to part B. We're asked to solve the triangle again, right, but now we're given a different triangle. We want to find the short leg of a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle with an 8 centimeter hypotenuse. So let's go ahead and draw this triangle. Okay, looks like this, right? This is a 90 degree angle. The bigger one of these two is 60. The smaller one's 30 degrees, right? This is just a standard 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Hypotenuse is the opposite from the right angle, so that is 8 centimeters, right? So now we have, let me rewrite this. We have, this is what's given, right? And so I want to label everything. I'm going to say this is A, B, and C. So this is side A, this is side B, and this is side C. So I want to say angle A, angle B, angle C, side A, side B, side C. Okay? So these are all the things I want to say in order to solve the triangle, right? Solve the triangle. So angle A I know is 60 degrees. These are all given. Angle B is 30 degrees. And angle C here is 90 degrees. I know side C is 8 centimeters. And I want to find the short leg, but also I want to solve it. So solving it's going to find the short leg. So let me just solve it. So what do we know about a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle? So remember, 30, 60, 90 degree triangle is a special triangle, right? 30, 60, 90 degree special, right? Let me go ahead and draw it in. 60 degrees here, 30 here, right? Opposite of angle 30 degrees is side A. This is just the special definition. Then opposite of 60 degrees is going to be square root of 3 times A. And opposite of the hypotenuse, right, is going to be 2 times A. So this, right, is the property of a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle because it's special in that way. Okay, it's always true. So how do we find the other sides? Well, we're given the hypotenuse is 8 centimeters, so we know this is the hypotenuse. So here we know 2 times A is equal to 8 centimeters, right? So divide both sides by 2, and we get A is equal to 4, right? So then we can go ahead and say, well, this side then is equal to 4, and this side then is equal to square root of 3 times 4, right? So go ahead and mark it up here in B. Side B is 4, and side A is square root of 3 times 4. And it might be a little confusing because A is used here and also here, but we know this A is not the same as the side A here. We could use x's if we want, right? I could say 2x square root of 3 times x and x here. and then this would be x and x, right? And it would all come out to be the same. Okay, so let me fill it in. Side A then is square root of 3 times 4 centimeters, right? And side B is 4 centimeters. Okay, and we're asked specifically find the short leg. Well, we know the short leg is side B, right? So we're asked that specifically in the question. So I'm going to include that as part of my answer. This is the short leg. Okay, so let's move on to part C. Part C, we're given another triangle. We're asked to do the same thing, solve it, right? Solve each triangle. So we're going to find the long leg of a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle with a 3 centimeter short leg. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw it again. Sketching the triangle. This is my 60 degree angle, 90 degree angle, 30 degree angle. Opposite, so let me go ahead and label it. Let me just use different letters. I'm going to use X, Y, Z. Right? And then the opposite is going to be small z. The opposite is small y. Opposite is small x. Okay, so the short leg is 3 centimeters. So the short leg is going to be opposite the shortest or smallest angle. So 30, 60, 90, the smallest one is 30 degrees. So the opposite one is this side, is the short leg, is 3 centimeters. Okay, so now my solution is going to be angle x, angle y, angle z, side x, side y, side z. Okay, I know x is 60 degrees, y is 30 degrees, z is 90 degrees, and side y is 3 centimeters. Okay, so I want to find x and z, and then also know that the long leg is not the hypotenuse. This is the hypotenuse, right? The hypotenuse is always opposite the 90 degree. The long leg is going to be the other leg, which is opposite 60 degrees. So I know this is my long leg here, x. Okay, so I could include that in my answer as well. So let's go ahead and do this. And remember, we just kind of went over this. But if this is our right triangle, it's a special 30, 60, 90. Right? 30, 60, 90 triangle. Then the side opposite of 30 degrees is A. Side opposite of 60 degrees is square root of 3 times A. And the side opposite of 90 degrees is 2A. Okay? So this is like what we need to know. So I'm going to write it there. And we know that the small a, this side here, a is equal to 3 centimeters. So that means the hypotenuse is then 2 times 3 centimeters, which is 6 centimeters. And the long leg here, opposite 60 degrees, is square root of 3 times 3 centimeters. Okay? So I can go ahead and use that and put in my answers. X here, we know is the long side here is square root of 3 times 3 centimeters. And that's the long leg. And z is the hypotenuse, is 2 times a, which is 6 centimeters. Okay? And that is going to finish solving this triangle and identifying the length of the long leg. And that ends CPM Precalculus Chapter 2, number 29.